Chosen one, this message didn't find you by accident. God led you here on purpose. There is something He wants to reveal to your spirit. You've been walking a path that hasn't always made sense to your natural mind. You've said no to things that looked good. You've stayed hidden when your flesh wanted to be seen. You've chosen consistency when chaos was easier. And what you may not realize is this: your discipline just saved your destiny. This isn't just a message to encourage you. This is a divine alert, a holy confirmation. God wants you to know that your refusal to compromise didn't just please Him. It protected you from something you couldn't even see. Let's break this down into 7 deep, revealing chapters, because the truth behind your discipline is greater than you imagined. Before we dive deep, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because this isn't just content, it's a divine alert for the disciplined chosen ones. If your spirit recognizes this frequency, type 77 in the comments right now. That number isn't just symbolic, it's a prophetic code, a confirmation to the Most High and the spirit realm that you stayed in alignment, resisted temptation, and are ready to receive what your discipline preserved. Not everyone will grasp the weight of this message. Only those who pass the secret tests, those who endured the unseen battles, those who stayed loyal even when no one was watching. If you're still here, it's because you were chosen and trusted with what's about to unfold. This isn't a one-time message. It's a living, breathing revelation. Revisit it whenever your spirit leads, because each time you do, you'll uncover a new layer, a deeper truth, a divine insight God tucked inside, just for the disciplined. Let's dive deeper. Chapter 1. The dangers you never saw were real. Chosen one, there are battles God fights for you that you never get to witness, because His protection often looks like silence. There are traps the enemy sets with precision, well-timed, well-disguised, tailored to your specific weaknesses. And yet, God in His mercy rerouted you, not always with a loud voice, but with a quiet check in your spirit. A closed door here, a delayed answer there, a sudden shift in your desires. You didn't see the conversations, you didn't see the plots that were designed to confuse you. You didn't hear the slander spoken in secret places. You didn't hear the demonic whispers trying to exploit your frustration and your loneliness. But heaven heard it all. Heaven saw the weapons being formed, and heaven stepped in before they could prosper. You were this close to being entangled in something that looked harmless, maybe even holy. It might have come wrapped in opportunity. It might have shown up in the form of a person with the right words, but the wrong spirit. It might have looked like a breakthrough, but underneath was a breakdown waiting to happen. A relationship, a partnership, a business idea, a connection. On the outside, it was dressed in light, but it carried hidden consequences, spiritual attachments, emotional damage, delays that would have cost you years. Had you stepped into it without discernment, it would have drained your energy. It would have distracted your focus. It would have polluted the oil on your life. But you didn't take the bait. You didn't move out of impulse. You didn't respond to pressure. You stayed disciplined. You stayed faithful when it didn't feel fair. You stayed focused when distractions came dressed as destiny. You chose peace over popularity. You chose purpose over pressure. And what felt like a quiet no in your spirit was actually the sound of angels clearing your path. That wasn't a coincidence. That wasn't random. That was divine strategy. God was shielding you from what your eyes couldn't see, but your spirit felt. He allowed you to walk right past danger that had your name written on it, because your discipline shifted your path. There are some rooms you never entered that would have stolen your confidence. There are some people you never called back that would have broken your heart. There are some deals you passed on that would have compromised your calling. And you didn't even know how close it came. But God did, and He kept you. Not because you were lucky, but because you were disciplined. Your yes to obedience was a no to destruction. Your no to compromise was a yes to divine preservation. And every moment you honored God in private, He was building a hedge around your purpose in the unseen. You didn't just avoid danger, you survived a spiritual ambush. And that's why you're still standing. That's why you still have peace. That's why you're still aligned. Because even when you didn't see the danger, your discipline did. And it saved you. Chapter 2. Discipline doesn't feel heroic, but it's holy. Let's be honest, chosen one, staying disciplined rarely feels glamorous. It doesn't come with fireworks or applause. Most of the time, it feels invisible, unrewarded, and even exhausting. You watch others move fast, take shortcuts, get instant results, while you're being called to wait, to walk, to trust. You say no to things that others don't even pause to consider. You wake up early when no one's watching. You pray when no one claps. You serve with a heart that's often weary, yet still willing. Discipline feels like silence when your soul craves affirmation. It feels like patience when your flesh wants proof. It feels like faithfulness when results are still far away. And while the world celebrates loud moves, God honors quiet obedience. In the spirit realm, every act of discipline is a sword. Every no you whispered to temptation, a weapon. Every moment you denied your flesh, a strike against darkness. Every time you obeyed God in the middle of confusion, you were writing victory in the invisible. Heaven was shifting on your behalf. Angels were being dispatched. The enemy's plans were being dismantled. Not because you shouted, but because you stayed aligned. You didn't cheat the process. You didn't manipulate the timeline. You didn't manufacture results to look more anointed or ready. You didn't grab what wasn't yours just to feel validated. You didn't skip levels just to feel seen. Instead, you stayed planted. You endured the pruning. You honored the timing. And because of that, the enemy's strategy failed before it ever reached you. You never even knew how close it got, because your consistency became your covering. Your discipline looked like limitation, but it was divine protection in disguise. It felt like restriction, but it was actually redirection. It felt like being held back, but heaven was actually holding you up. This is where most people fall. Not in the battle, but in the boredom. Not during the storm, but during the silence. When nothing seems to be happening, when results are slow, when rewards are rare, that's when the undisciplined wander off. But you didn't. You stayed. You dug deeper roots when your emotions told you to give up. And here's the truth. Discipline isn't just about self-control. It's about spiritual authority. When you walk in discipline, you walk in dominion. Because discipline is your declaration to the spirit realm that you trust God more than you trust your impulses. That you believe His timing over your timeline. That you submit your emotions under His instructions. And that trust, that sacred, unseen trust, gave God permission to step in, to shut down the attack, to cancel the assignment of the enemy, to rebuke the devourer on your behalf. So while others thought you were doing too much, heaven saw that you were doing just enough to shift your entire future. Discipline isn't flashy, but it's holy. And holiness, chosen one, is the highway of protection. It's what separates those who crash early from those who carry longevity. It's what turns ordinary obedience into supernatural elevation. You didn't just stay disciplined, you stayed dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. And that's why God is about to honor you publicly for what you sustained privately. Chapter 3. The moment you wanted to break, God blocked something. There was a moment, or maybe several, where your soul felt heavy, your flesh was weary, your spirit was drained. You looked around and saw others moving fast, achieving, celebrating, and winning, while you were still in a season of waiting and wilderness. You were tempted to loosen your standards, to lower your guard, to silence the convictions that once kept you aligned. You felt the pull to snap, to quit the assignment, to take the shortcut that looked easier and more comfortable, to go back to what was familiar, even if it wasn't fruitful. You started to question, what's the point of all this discipline? You were ready to say, maybe I should just do what everyone else is doing. Maybe obedience isn't worth it after all. But then, something deeper in you refused. Something holy pushed you to hold the line. You couldn't explain it logically, but you knew in your spirit, don't move, don't respond to emotion, don't retaliate, don't run, don't sell yourself short for a temporary fix. You didn't know it at the time, but that exact moment was a spiritual intersection. And had you taken one wrong step, one emotional reaction, one bitter outburst, one careless compromise, the enemy would have gained legal ground. You didn't see how close the ambush was. You didn't see the demons assigned to delay you. You didn't hear the whispers from the pit, hoping you'd crack under pressure. You didn't see the network of traps ready to spring open the moment you took your eyes off God. But heaven saw it all. And because you stayed grounded, even while feeling frustrated and fatigued, God stepped in. He cut off the enemy's access. He shut the mouths of monitoring spirits. He blocked the doorways that were meant to disguise destruction as destiny. He silenced the lies before they could penetrate your heart. He sent angels to shield your steps and redirect your emotions. You thought you were just surviving a hard day, but in the realm of the spirit, you were passing a high-level test. You didn't win with noise, you won with restraint. You didn't conquer with a sword, you conquered with stillness. You didn't react, and that silence was your strategy. And that's what the enemy didn't count on. He thought your weariness would make you reckless. He thought your silence meant surrender. He thought your isolation would lead to compromise. But instead, your refusal to give up invited divine intervention. You were stronger than you thought, not because you shouted, but because you stayed surrendered. You were wiser than you felt, because you let the Spirit lead, not your pain. That moment you wanted to break was actually the moment heaven decided they're ready for more. You passed, you endured, and you didn't even realize how close hell came to your doorstep because obedience kept the door locked. So don't downplay that moment, chosen one. It didn't feel like victory, but it was one of the most powerful wins of your life, not by force, but by faithful resistance. Chapter 4. God rewards what man never sees. No one clapped when you said no to temptation. No one reposted your obedience. There wasn't a standing ovation the day you turned down the invitation that could have elevated your ego but compromised your soul. You didn't trend for staying pure. You didn't go viral for walking away from gossip. You didn't get applauded for remaining silent when slander was flying your way. But heaven saw it all. God doesn't miss what you do in private. Not a single obedient decision went unnoticed. Not a single quiet surrender was wasted. While people were watching who you appeared to be, God was watching who you chose to be when no one was around. He saw the battles you won when only angels were clapping. He saw the tears you cried when your only reward was peace of mind. And he took note of your restraint, of your reverence, of your righteous resistance. You didn't stay disciplined for likes. You weren't doing it to prove anything to the world. You weren't trying to be perfect. You were trying to stay positioned. You were trying to remain pure. Your spirit knew there was a higher standard, and something inside you refused to bow to what was beneath your calling. You walked away from what others ran toward. You waited when others rushed. You held your tongue when others spoke recklessly. You gave when you had every reason to withhold. And all of that, every unseen choice, became a testimony in the courts of heaven. Your discipline was never just about behavior. It was always about alignment. Now, because of what you chose not to do, doors are about to open that no man can shut. Because of what you turned down, divine appointments are about to show up. Because of what you walked away from, God is now walking you into places others had to fight to enter. Not because you were better, but because you were trustworthy. Because you proved you could carry power without losing purity. Blessings are about to chase you down, not because you earned them through performance, but because God can now trust you with them. This is the kind of trust that isn't built overnight. It's forged in secret, in moments when nobody's watching, when nobody understands, when obedience costs more than compromise, and you still choose obedience. God doesn't reward perfection, He rewards posture. He rewards the heart that stays surrendered even when the flesh is screaming. The posture that says, "Not my will, but yours be done." And your posture, chosen one, was one of humility, one of integrity, one of secret obedience. And that's what separates you from the crowd. You weren't just being good, you were being governed by God. And that divine discipline you walked in has now become a gateway to favor. So don't be surprised when things start aligning, when people start recognizing you, when platforms start opening. It's not because you changed, it's because heaven is now publicly responding to what you privately passed. The reward isn't coming because people noticed. It's coming because God recorded it. And what He records, He always rewards. Not always when you expect it, but always when you're ready for it. And chosen one, now you are. Chapter 5. Your discipline exposed the enemy's limitations. The enemy was hoping you would break. He was banking on your exhaustion to turn into rebellion. He was confident that if he applied just enough pressure, through loneliness, delay, betrayal, or confusion, you would finally cave in. He set up subtle temptations, crafted emotional distractions, whispered lies into your quietest moments. He assumed that if he could just shake your emotions long enough, your convictions would start to crumble. But you didn't break. You didn't give in. And that exposed something he never wanted revealed, that he has no real power over someone who's fully surrendered to God. You didn't win this round with loud warfare. You didn't have to cast out demons. You didn't have to lay hands on the situation. You didn't have to shout or strive or sweat to prove your power. You simply stayed put. You simply said no to the bait. You simply remained still and trusted God when nothing made sense. And that stillness, that surrender, it paralyzed every plot of darkness forming around your destiny. The enemy underestimated you. He thought your silence was weakness. He mistook your discipline for distance from God. But while he was watching for noise, you were rooted in knowing. While he hoped you would lash out, you chose to lean in. While he waited for you to explode, you were expanding. In wisdom, in patience, in spiritual authority. And that's what scares him the most, because now he knows you're not just chosen, you're trained. You're not just anointed, you're disciplined. You're not moved by compliments or criticisms. You're not shaken by delay or distraction. You're anchored in the truth, and truth is something hell can't twist. You survived this season not because you were lucky, but because you were disciplined. And every time you remained faithful, instead of frustrated, it sent a message into the spirit realm. This one can't be bought. This one won't fold under pressure. This one knows the word more than their own will. This one is dangerous, not just because of their light, but because of their loyalty. That kind of obedience is terrifying to the enemy, because flashy gifts can be counterfeited, but consistent discipline is forged in fire. And the fire you walked through didn't burn you, it built you. Now you're not just surviving attacks, you're being shaped by them. You're not just dodging traps, you're learning to discern them in advance. The enemy threw everything he could, and you still didn't bow. He whispered to your doubts, and you still didn't waver. He made the path hard, and you still kept walking. And now he knows he's dealing with someone unstoppable, someone guarded by grace and governed by truth, someone who no longer reacts, but responds in righteousness. Hell's greatest fear is not the loud believer, it's the disciplined one, the one who stays planted when storms come, the one who doesn't chase the crowd, but listens for the quiet instruction of God, the one who doesn't just speak the word, but lives it in private. You are that one. You are the threat, because you didn't need recognition to remain righteous, and that discipline, that sacred obedience, exposed the enemy's limits and activated heaven's reward. And from this moment forward, hell can't touch what discipline built. Chapter 6. God is about to reveal what you were protected from. Soon, chosen one, the veil will be lifted. The quiet season you endured, the discipline you maintained, the decisions you made when no one was watching, all of it is about to make sense. God is going to show you why He asked you to wait, why He closed certain doors, why He kept some people at a distance, why He allowed delay after delay. Even when you were ready to move forward, He's going to let you see what He blocked, what He rerouted, and what He saved you from. Not to instill fear, but to reveal faithfulness. Not to overwhelm you with regret, but to awaken your awareness of how serious heaven has been about your protection. You've been walking in divine covering, and you didn't even know the full extent of it. You thought the silence was abandonment. You thought the closed doors meant rejection. You thought the unanswered prayers meant something was wrong with you. But the truth is, God was working behind the scenes, moving things around, keeping harm out of your path while you were focused on staying aligned. You'll see people entangled in situations you almost walked into. You'll hear testimonies of those who took the route you considered, and you'll think, that could have been me, but God. You'll notice how one yes to the wrong person, one no to your spirit's warning, one emotional decision could have cost you everything. And it will shake you, not in fear, but in awe. Awe that your obedience mattered that much. Awe that your surrender, your patience, your discipline wasn't just character building, it was life-preserving. You're about to realize that what felt like restriction was actually rescue, that what looked like delay was divine detour, that what seemed like loss was actually the mercy of God removing what was never meant for you. Some doors didn't open because behind them were contracts that would have drained your purpose. Some relationships didn't bloom because they were poisoned with hidden agendas. Some opportunities faded because they were designed to distract you from the mission God assigned to your soul before you were even born. And here's the truth. Had you not been disciplined, you would have accepted them. Had you moved too fast, you would have called it favor and stepped right into a trap. But because you stayed planted, because you checked in with the Spirit before making moves, God had permission to intervene and intercept. Some people disappeared, not because they rejected you, but because heaven removed them. They were sent to derail you, to drain you, to disturb the oil you carry. But God, in His mercy, didn't even let the attachment begin. He canceled the connection before it could connect. He severed the tie before it could tighten. He exposed hearts before they could infect yours. And soon, He will let you see it clearly. The near misses, the spiritual accidents you never crashed into, the demonic schemes that were ready to devour you, but couldn't get past the wall of your discipline. You'll look back and understand that no was a shield. That delay was a wall. That disappointment was actually deliverance. That the isolation you endured was a hidden sanctuary. Chapter 7. Because you stayed disciplined, your destiny is unlocking. This is the reward of obedience. This is what happens when you don't compromise, even when it's inconvenient. This is the manifestation of what your tears, your patience, and your private surrender have been watering. Now that the danger has passed and the testing season is closing, God is unlocking your next. Not just because time has moved forward, but because you have grown into it. You're not being blessed by accident. You're being elevated by alignment. You passed the tests no one knew you were taking. You made the hard choices when no one was applauding. You stayed faithful when the enemy offered fast tracks and shiny distractions. And now God is saying, they're ready. Ready for more. Ready for access. Ready for destiny. Doors that were once delayed are about to burst open without resistance. Heaven is releasing people, provision, and platforms that perfectly align with the assignment on your life. Connections that were once blocked are now being reintroduced at the right time with the right spirit. Opportunities are being magnetized toward your name. You're not chasing them. They're being drawn to your discipline. This is divine release. This is promotion by purity. This is what it looks like when God says, now that I can trust you, I can elevate you. This is access that discipline unlocked. You're not behind. You're not late. You're right on heaven's schedule. All the waiting, all the refining, all the delays were strategic. Everything you were kept from was preparing you for everything you're now about to walk into. God had to preserve the version of you that was mature enough to handle the magnitude of what's coming. And now that version has emerged through discipline, not shortcuts. God is proud of you. The enemy is terrified of you. And heaven is moving for you. Orchestrating details, shifting timelines, releasing instructions to those assigned to bless you. What once felt like you were being overlooked was really God overprotecting you until the atmosphere was ready. Chosen one, don't ever underestimate the power of a disciplined life. It didn't just help you grow, it saved you. It didn't just keep you pure, it kept you positioned. It didn't just delay destruction, it preserved your future. Now, everything that was locked behind spiritual obedience is opening. And it's opening in a way that no one, no hater, no liar, no demon can shut it again. You didn't miss your moment. You protected it. You preserved it through restraint. You incubated it with purity. You stewarded it with silence. And because you stayed surrendered, your next level has just been supernaturally activated. So walk boldly into it. Don't second-guess it. Don't apologize for it. Don't hesitate to claim it. Because you didn't steal this moment. You didn't manipulate your way here. You obeyed your way here. And obedience is the highest honor you can give God. And He always rewards honor with elevation. This is your unlocking. This is your divine unveiling. The world is about to see what heaven has been shaping in secret. Your discipline didn't delay you. It distinguished you. And now, the doors are opening. The spotlight is shifting, and destiny is waiting. Go forward, boldly. You didn't just survive this season. You qualified for the next one.